the rant.
No, love it.
Right,
Love
cool.
it.
All right, I'm gonna clap us in. We'll film for about 40 minutes. I'll start kind of fiddling with my watch usually when it's time.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah.
We'll go from there. Cool, man. There we go. Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk, UK's #1 recruitment podcast officially. We're a top 15% video podcast on Spotify. So thank you very much, guys, for liking, sharing, subscribing, watching, tuning in, all the guests, all the sponsors, everybody that's involved in making the channel what it is. I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. Today's episode is a really interesting one. In fact, I met my guest at the Recruitment Agency Expo while I was doing podcasting. It was the first time I met him, and then immediately was intrigued and was looking forward to getting him on, because I don't necessarily buy into this sort of stuff, but I want to. I want to learn. I'm always open to kind of learning and engaging with new thought processes. So my guest today, you'll notice him more and more. He's recently joined the Team Network. He's started to really up his game on LinkedIn. There will be a rebranding, which we were talking off camera about. But my guest today is Samir Ahmed, or Sammy, from New Wave Wellness.
Hello, Nitin. How you doing?
Mate, thank you very much for making the time to come down. I really, really appreciate it.
No problem.
So the thing that I think stands out for you is that you are a high-performance hypnotherapist.
Correct.
Right?
Thanks to your rebranding. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, high-performance hypnotherapist.
So, here's somebody who worked in recruitment for several years, ran a very successful recruitment business, got stung by COVID, and then you kind of almost went, well, what do I do now? Oh, I know. I'm going to do something completely different. And some of the stuff that's on your LinkedIn profile that you help with, this isn't just convincing a bunch of recruitment sort of recruiters on desks to turn into these robots, and this is what you're saying, this is how you say it. Some of the stuff that Sammy helps with are things like imposter syndrome, switching off, burnout, lack of belief in their ability, personal and work-life balances, addictions, pressures of hitting targets, and so on and so forth. So, mate, I'm really keen to understand how hypnotherapy kind of works in this world, because look, I'm of that kind of hypnotherapists are the hey, look in my eyes, right? How the hell do you get into that? What made you go, oh, I like that?
No, it's a great question, and everyone asks me that, right? Firstly, thanks for the intro,
Mate,
and wicked studio. I think it's awesome.
You.
So hypnotherapy. When I say to people hypnotherapists, they think Little Britain.
Yes.
Look in my eyes.
Yes,
Look in my eyes.
yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
every
yeah.
joke you can imagine.
Of course.
But what's so funny is that when I say to them, right now, you're breathing, you're blinking, you're digesting your food, who's doing that?
Mm-hmm.
So the subconscious mind, which is where I work, subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of the decisions that you make. And this is from a Harvard study that I read very recently. And in there, what's even more interesting about that, if that's what I'm doing, then that's what my client's doing.
Mm.
So buying decisions are 90% subconscious.
Agreed. Completely agree.
So what is the subconscious? If I'm aware of the fact that the subconscious exists, and actually it works at 11, it can take in 11 million bits of information per second. Now, that's faster than any AI robot we've created.
Mm-hmm.
The conscious mind works at 40. So if that's the case, well, my decisions that I'm making, if I've got something that I don't like, why am I, just through positive thinking, just through mindset change, why is nothing changing?
Mm-hmm.
We've got mindset coaches to the raft.
Yeah.
But what actually is driving my decisions? And what's very, very interesting is that through deep relaxation, it's not something that I do straight away, but through deep relaxation, I'm able to calm the conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Really engage with someone's subconscious and relay the information, all the wants and needs that they tell me in the session or the chat that we've had. I'm able to talk the language of the subconscious, which imagine when I say the subconscious, everyone thinks of dreams. Now in dreams, is there any rhyme or reason to things? It's not logical in a sense.
There's no control.
No control. It's almost like you're in the fourth dimension. Subconscious realm is very implicit. It's not direct. It's metaphorical. Mm-hmm. Now, if I talk in a non-metaphorical language with you, your conscious mind understands it like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas when we were reading a book and we understand that it's an allegory for something, i.e. a book that's actually about the state of politics in the UK now, but each character defines it, acts as one of those parts. If you read that, your mind starts to get sunk into the book. Time goes away.
Yeah.
You're in
You
hypno.
must create this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so your mind is constantly in hypnosis. Your mind, your subconscious mind is in hypnosis all the time. I don't want to say the conscious mind, but your subconscious mind is in hypnosis all the time. It loves it. Reading a book, driving here. How are you able to drive and not think about, left indicator, right? It's all automated.
Right. Okay. Fine. So myth busted straight away then, right? So because people like me hear hypnosis and hypnotherapy, and you immediately you think that's you're going to put me to sleep, you're going to give me information, and then I'm going to be brought back, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to do now. Mm-hmm. Every time I hear a beep, I'm going to bark like a dog, or do you know what I mean? Like because of the kind of the misinformation that's out there.
Absolutely.
But what you're saying is that actually it's just putting you into the state of mind that your subconscious is actually already in, and quite often likes to be in, which is that kind of
and kind of in the sense, and I've not explained it very well. So your mind wants to work with you. In fact, it will work with you so much that the pleasure and pain complex that we have, where our mind is always going to go towards pleasure, always. So really, if we're trying to do something hard, BD, we're trying to get on the phone, we're trying to build a desk from scratch, we're trying to create a relationship with someone that knows nothing about us.
To a lesser extent, just actually record a video and put it on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Exactly. Or talking in front of your team, whatever it is. You know? Something very, very silly and to us, but might be really big to someone else. If we don't start to actually become familiar with the unfamiliar, or unfamiliar with the familiar, i.e. smoking, it's just familiar. You take a puff of a vape. Vaping in our industry is mad. Yeah. Actually, we said earlier, I'm working with recruitment firms. Actually, that's a great way for me to get in. I see people vaping. I'm like, I bet you're sick of that, because no one likes to smoke. No one consistently likes to smoke. I've not met a single non-smoker that says they don't want to become a non-smoker.
Interesting.
Really, why are you doing it then? Because you become familiar with it. Your mind has created that into a pleasure. And so just with your day-to-day job, with the recruiters that I work with, it's really understanding how to work with your brain. As opposed to just positive thinking, trying to change, get your mind to just, be motivated.
Yeah, so rather than force yourself to do it, kind of understand why you're not doing it, so that, or you can start to retrain your mind to do it. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But
okay.
You saying that was such a mouthful. What does that mean?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Because I can be here and I can be like, right brain, train. Let me hate what I love. Let me love what I hate. Let me do all this. You're having a conversation with your conscious mind. So it's not a waste of time, because things do permeate. But lasting change, transformations, don't happen that way. They happen slowly. You've got to give patience, compassion to yourself. Most of the things you mentioned there, imposter syndrome, burnout, addictions, those are the three big ones, really.
Yeah.
Those three areas where I help, I'm not doing anything. I'm not telling them anything they don't know. I'm just telling them that it's okay to not be that person. It's okay to want to be that person. Most people create limitations on themselves where they are never, ever going to go past that. And they're happy with that. And that's totally fine. But imagine an idea where that, and you understand this more than anyone, that goal that you've set yourself is well beyond that limitation that you've created. I want to reach 500 grand a year billings or whatever it is. Yet you seem to keep hitting that 200K mark.
Yeah.
What is that? Fact is, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
You're comfortable. What are you going to do to break through that? Well, if I say to you, break through it, the first thing you think is like, more work. Whereas what I do after a session, once that conscious mind is comfortable, quiet, subconscious mind feels protected. That's all it's trying to do, protect you from pain. Once you realise that you can't get hurt, things become easier. Then the world is your oyster. And so there's a power within us that we have all engaged in, a natural, godlike energy that we've all engaged in. I just get people engaged with that. because it's more fun that way.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I was going to say it sounds incredibly close to meditation, I suppose, but then it's some people don't believe in medication.
What's meditation?
Meditation, sorry.
What's meditation?
Accessing that subconscious mind, right? Closing down to all of the frontal lobe and kind of thinking about the sort of what's really behind all of this. What am I doing? You know, you getting to the point where you can kind of almost feel the fuzziness on your fingertips, and you can hear and feel sound and that kind of thing, right? That's meditation, or my interpretation of meditation.
Absolutely. But video games is meditation as well.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
I've read a couple of articles on exactly that. Yeah, I argue with this with my wife all the time. She's not a gamer, and she's we're both exactly the same age. And she grew up in a household where gaming wasn't a release, it wasn't a thing, wasn't done. And I grew up in a house where we would literally batter each other to get onto the game console because it was just the one between 6 of us. And so for me, it was sort of like, now we've got 2 kids, and one of them was incredibly into gaming, but she will just switch off, and she's like, you know, and you'll go, Angelique, come on, time to go upstairs. Angelique, like, you know, shower time, whatever. She ain't listening. And my wife will see that as, look, she's zoned out completely. She's got iPad face, and I'm like, no, she's just really, really in the zone.
She's in the
no
zone.
Different to when a developer gets in the zone, and you can talk to them for hours, but they ain't listening. Or no different to when an author starts, you know, and it starts flowing. It's just another form of creativity.
100%. 100%. And I think that also, I mean, I just sold my PS5, unbelievably. I was a mad COD gamer. And I got so into COD and Battlefield as well. Loved it. But there was a point where I was like, okay, this is actually not benefiting me. I'm using this too much as an
release
escape.
now, yeah,
Boom.
rather than...
So what am I releasing from?
Yeah.
What am I releasing? Hang on a minute. I've got nothing. The stresses in my life don't require that much releasing. I've created a connection in my brain that everyone wants to sit around and chill.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do that. So once we accept that everyone wants to do that, and I want to do that, then you're actually at a point where you're like, okay, that's cool, I can do that, but what do I actually want to do? Podcast, recruitment, hypnotherapy, for me, hypnotherapist, whatever it is, it then goes, oh, okay, that pleasure time is fun, but actually what's more fun is getting subscribers. What's more fun to me is helping people on their journey.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that mindset shift happens. It happened for you naturally. I can actually help people get to where they're going quicker.
Yeah, because they want to do it, but they just don't know how to. And they're so used to not doing it that doing it feels impossible.
That's a great way of putting it, yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been exactly there, right? No, you're right. It's almost as though... Yeah, because again, it's about retraining your mind, because in my head, I'm like, no, hypnotherapy is not a bloke sat in front of you trying to put you to sleep to tell you what to do. Hypnosis happens in any way, shape or form. I spend a lot of my time watching TikToks and reels and things like that, right? Partly because I'm like, oh, let's see if there's anything cool and inspiring out there that I can be like, oh, I'm going to take from that, I'll take from that. But the other times, actually, some of the things that I've watched and some of the things that come up and whatever about things like around motivation, around being a better father, around kind of dealing with grief and so on and so forth, that's a form of hypnosis in theory. Because I sit there and I'll watch a video and go, that spoke to me. I didn't just hear that, I felt that. And that changes then how I am for a period of time, you know?
I was at a Nas concert recently. He did my family were really lovely. They bought me a birthday present Nas at the Royal Albert Hall.
Nice.
I met a marketing guy outside. Me and my missus, we were just having a laugh, and we met this guy, and he worked for a marketing firm. Really, really cool. He's telling us about his clients and stuff. And I started talking to him about the subconscious marketing, because that's all it's doing. It's just tapping into our subconscious, right? TikTok, Instagram, whatever. I started talking about cognitive marketing, and I was like, well, it's really fascinating to me, because I've always been able to pick it up. I'm like, oh, that's why they've done that, so it appeals to this.
Product placement, all that
Product placement, all that stuff. And he goes, you don't even know how deep it is. You don't know how deep it is. And he actually does a lot of work with TikTok and Instagram and stuff. Even the feeling of just, wow, going like this, feels like you're moving forward. When you're staying exactly in the same place.
Yeah. You don't scroll down, you scroll up.
You're scrolling up as if you're going up levels, when actually you're going nowhere. Now, don't get me wrong, I think for what you're doing, if you're getting social media to work for you, wicked, absolutely amazing. However, when are you gonna decide to not just be the consumer? You're gonna actually start using this for your benefit.
Yeah.
And
Well, it depends on what you define as benefit, though, right? Look, I went through an incredibly traumatic experience this time last year, and I had a choice to make. It was either I can sit and wallow in a pool of my own self-pity about how my old business partner fucked me over and I'm left with the bill to pay and he's ran off and he ain't, he's took the clients and he's going to carry on and poor me, little me. Or I go, all right, okay, you do you, I'm going to do this, right? And for me, things like social media were a release. They're not just a release of like mind numbingness and just keep scrolling until like I feel that dopamine hit. It was, as I said, the messaging of like motivational messages about things like, this is all right, these things happen. Why did you get this? Why does this happen? Why does that happen? Help me with. I suffered with delayed grief with my dad passing away during COVID. Yeah. Which, again, no doubt played a part in kind of my disassociation to the recruitment business while it was kind of failing and stuff. But again, certain things on social media helped me understand what delayed grief was and why I did it and why that was a good thing that happened and that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
That's amazing.
And so I think if you're looking for the answers, it doesn't matter where you're looking, you will find them.
100%.
And some could argue that's a form of hypnosis.
No, it
right?
is.
You're using hypnotherapy on yourself in the sense of going, look, you can't, look, I vividly remember it was like 3 days after my dad had died and it was Diwali. And for my kids, I had to sit and light fireworks and do sparklers and put a smile on my face. Because for me, it was like, I have to do this. Like, these two are looking forward to that. And then after this, it's going to be Christmas. And after Christmas, it's New Year. And then it's a birthday. And, and I was like, there is no time for me to stop and feel shit for myself. I've got these two that I've got to think about here. You know what I mean? And it was almost having those things where you kind of look at it and go, no, these are my responsibilities. And so I will look after myself, but in a different way.
No,
and that's a mind shift change, I think.
My best mate is very much like yourself. When I say he's a skeptic, he's a man of science, right? And he's the coolest guy. I mean, really, really cool. And he's very much of, I'm not here to say that you can't help yourself. I'm actually here to say the total opposite. You had a problem and the algorithm, or you searched it, actually helped you solve that problem. Amazing. What I'm talking about is the mindless numbing of yourself. It's
It's kind of pressing pause for a second and going, hang on a minute, why am I doing this? What is it that I'm looking for? And like you did with the gaming. I used to reward myself with gaming sessions to release myself from angst and stress or whatever, but those things don't exist anymore, yet I'm still rewarding myself. So what now I'm indulging.
Absolutely.
This is not a release anymore, this is an indulgement.
Absolutely.
And the indulgement isn't good for me.
Absolutely.
I can no longer justify doing this, so I need to now make that cut. Same reason why, as you say, with social media, there are times where some people you got to think, you got to turn that off. That is not good for you. You're not helping yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm not knocking it, like you say. There are massive benefits of social media, huge. But we all know what it's like to be in a zombie hole and just scrolling through. Now, if you're able to do that and be in a zombie hole, which we all are, then you are able to go to a hypnotherapy session. You are able to do hypnosis at any point. Anyone is.
What do you say to people like me then who were like, I can't be hypnotized?
Cool. My dad's the same.
Yeah.
My dad.
Yeah, my dad's the same, but I did it to him 6 years ago. He ain't got a clue.
Well, he actually when I told him I'm studying, first thing he said, "You can't do that to me." I'm like, "Cool." Next time I see him, "You can't do that to me." Cool. Next time, and he kept on saying it, and I said, "You know what?" After a while, I was like, "You know what? This isn't actually about what I can do to you. I'm just a guide. It's about what do you want to do with yourself." And it sounds kind of that is a bit of a cheesy way of looking at it. He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, there's no point coming to me if your life is great. I'm not a performing chimp. I'm not just going to do hypnosis for the sake of it.
And hypnosis isn't a weapon that I can use against you to
Exactly.
make you do things against you. And I think it's that, isn't it? It's the misinformation from things like stupid TV shows from the 70s and the 80s of where they'd like put them to sleep and you're going to be an alien when you wake up and that kind of thing. And
absolutely,
it's that's kind of made people go, oh yeah, forget that. When actually, what it's really about is, do you know yourself? No. Do you really know yourself? Do you know how to switch something off because you know it ain't good for you? Because unfortunately, a lot of people don't.
We're both from a culture that is so. I mean, I'm a mix. So, mum is Hindu Punjabi.
Okay.
Dad is Pakistani Muslim. So when they got married, they were both born.
I bet that was difficult.
They eloped.
Yeah.
So I've had the luxury of having 4 religions in my life: Christianity from being here, Islam from my dad, Hinduism, Sikhism from Punjab. And what's really, really fascinating about that is the 2 Abrahamic faiths. They talk about this external universe: stars, angels, good, bad, all that stuff. Punjabi and Hinduism and Sikhism is the internal universe.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. Both are beautiful, actually. All 4 of them.
Yeah, but you've got a nice balance and appreciation of both. Yeah.
I was always able to, and with a lot of my mates and the ones that are Hindu, they get bored of the spiritual and the mystical side. And the ones that are from Islam or Christianity, they're very much like, we're sick of the dogma.
Yeah.
We're sick of the restrictions and discipline. And what's funny is they always lead to the move to the other
each
side.
looks for the other for
a bit of release, really, or a bit of a different way of thinking.
I find that,
But in the universe one, Sikhism and Hinduism, we have an incredible tool to just shut everyone out and just be with yourself for a little while through that meditation and stuff. Now, meditation for me is cool, but you don't want it to be another chore. You don't want to say, I missed meditation this morning. Oh, God. Oh, no, I'm doing bad. Your subconscious has been programmed to think of life as good and bad.
Yeah.
Constantly. That's a good move. That's a bad move. Even though I've been saying about scrolling is bad, and I mean, who am I? Like, what is good and bad? You know, it is what it is.
Yeah. We have this innate need to categorize and compartmentalize everything into 2 columns. One, or that is good or that is bad.
Yeah.
Binary systems.
And why though? Because obviously we have an incredible mechanism in us where when we weren't the apex predator on this planet, the response to seeing a predator would be, right, tighten up, muscles start moving, looking for an exit, the heart beating faster, breath gets quicker to get more oxygen in the body. We don't have that problem anymore. We're the apex predator on this planet. So now those reactions come from a bank bill, from not hitting your targets.
Yeah.
From all this stuff.
Yep. Brown envelope from the HMRC.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's all perceived. I learnt very young. This is before I was a hypnotherapist. Funny enough, hypnotherapy we found each other because everyone said, like, I'm a bit of a philosopher. I've always understood emotions, always been very in tune with my emotions. And what was really, really interesting prior to my life in recruitment is I always had this ability to connect with myself. I always would just put a bit of time away just to be like, let me just see what quiet feels like. And so I was very, very lucky in the sense that I had, like you were saying before the podcast, I had a family around me that allowed me to do that. It wasn't all just about go out there and make something yourself, money.
The external pressures of life weren't necessarily there all the time for you to then be able to have the luxury to sit with yourself and think, oh, what do you want to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you enjoy doing? What don't you enjoy doing?
Absolutely. And I'm aware that a lot of people listening, they're not even from the city that they're in at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've come here and they want to grow up. Wicked. Go for it. You can do it. And they just need someone in their life. I mean, some of my clients now, we don't even do hypnosis anymore. We're just talking about their recruitment desk.
But that's the therapy part of hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Again, it's unlearning bias and unlearning prejudice. It's hypnotherapy. Sometimes you don't need, it's not even sometimes, you don't need me to wave something in front of you to put you into a state of subconscious. Sometimes you just need to be heard. How many people are out there right now that just need therapy? I can't tell you the number of guests that we do this with, and then the cameras turn off and they go, "Oh, I didn't know I needed that."
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I can imagine.
no one's ever given me the platform to talk about the trials and tribulations of running my business.
Wow.
You know, people will go, the number of times that people say to me, like, you talk so candidly and openly about your recruitment business, and you started it, you grew it, you scaled it, and then it failed. And you're so kind of open about that journey that it's like refreshing, because I would never feel the confidence to say that, yeah, I fucked it up and, you know, it went under. And I'm like, but that's the truth. Right?
It's the truth, yeah.
And if that's empowering for you, then that's great, because you know that helps. It makes me feel less bad about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely, no, absolutely. And this is therapy.
It is, yeah.
And you're right, actually. Like there's a big difference between stage hypnotism and hypnotherapy. I've been trained to. My mind is not linear. My mind is ethereal, effervescent, as someone told me the other day. I lily pad. I've always done that since a child. What's really, really cool is that's how the subconscious works.
Yeah.
And so my job is to notice patterns that you've created. What's the story?
Yeah, you're not stressing about one thing in particular.
No.
And so that if I fix that one stress, your life will all fall into place.
No.
No, you've got a multitude of different things that are on your mind. And the purpose is here to kind of start unpicking that.
Yes.
And start being the key word.
Yes.
One session's not going to do it.
No.
You know, one conversation is not going to do it. What it will do is start giving you the tools to think, hang on a minute, I'm doing it again. You know, it's funny you say that, because after this, I'm off to Birmingham for an event, and then I'm meeting with an old boss of mine, and he set up with his business partner, I would say about a year ago now, and the number of times I've had a crisis call from him because he's frustrated or something's like, you know, do you know what I mean? And he's a late diagnosed ADHD, so he doesn't know whether it's that's playing him hard, or, you know, he gets frustrated and whatever. But he's cottoned on to the fact that when he needs that, when it's that crisis moment, he needs to be talked off a ledge, because he's going to go and do something like that's not going to be conducive or good for their business. Do you know what I mean? And that's when I usually hear from him. I'm like, right, okay, yeah, this means you're at, like, you know,
high alert.
That's it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I've got to now kind of listen to you, hear you out, give you the alternative viewpoint, remind you of why you started this in the first place, and why it was that person that you went into business with, and why you know what you're doing is unfair. And then he'll kind of calm himself down, and that'll be cool. And then I won't hear from him for another 6 weeks. And then he'll come back again, like, when something's up.
What a value person you are in his life.
Well, yeah. But yeah, he's a friend of mine, you know, and I get it. I get what he's going through. The number of times I had issues with my business partner, it was just the two of us, you know. I completely get it. But you touched on this off camera, though. The most difficult part of being a recruitment business owner, or any form of business owner, is the loneliness when you're on your own.
Absolutely.
And not having that community and that network.
Absolutely. The heavy is the head that wears the crown. And that doesn't even mean for entrepreneurs. I'm talking about people that are managing teams of 200 consultants or 100 consultants, whatever it is. It is isolating. And that conversation, just to be like, I just need to get this off my chest. And funny enough, actually, a lot of the drive that has got them to where they've gone is by disregarding the opinions of a lot of people and just saying, right, I'm going to just focus in, tunnel vision, that's it. And you look at the leaders around you. If you're sitting at your desk and you're a recruitment consultant, look at your directors. They look like they've got this shine of invincibility around them, but they suffer from imposter syndrome too. It is rife in our industry, rife. And across the UK, actually, funny enough.
So tell me about imposter syndrome then.
Yeah.
Like, is this a relatively new thing?
No. Imposter syndrome is, when I say new, I think that we've actually started to classify it in the last sort of 30 years. It's become really, really obvious. Now, this is an affliction of modern society.
Okay.
That you are not good enough. All I'm here to do is tell you that you are. And it sounds simple.
But you don't know me, so how do you know that I am good enough?
Well, you're here. Good enough for what?
Of whatever it is that my kind of imposter syndrome is based in.
Great question. So you are in a recruitment business right now, and I'm doing this only for recruitment. So sorry, my bad. I was thinking about you as a person. In recruitment, you've been through a rigorous interview process. The person that you admire hired you. You're there for a reason. Now, you might not be hitting targets right now, and you might be thinking, wow, I'm not living up to this idea that I've been hired for the right reasons. However, if you trust yourself, you trust in the universe, you trust in God, whoever it is, you have self-belief, know that wherever you are in the now, the present moment, is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
So if you are suffering from imposter syndrome and you're thinking to yourself, have I done the right thing? Am I in the right place? The best answer is, well, will I go somewhere in the future? Will I be? The answer is you don't actually know. But don't worry, no one else does either. Everyone walking around with their presentation saying, this is the way that 2025 is going to be. This is what's going to happen. It's very useful. Future prediction is amazing. But right now, you are good enough to be in your recruitment seat. Because they've hired you.
Okay. I don't know whether that would be enough to overcome my imposter syndrome, for example. Do you know what I mean? Having essentially a stranger tell me that, no, you're wrong. You are good enough.
No, I totally agree. Me sitting there saying it's good enough is for the pleasure of the people I don't know behind the camera that are listening to this podcast. Hopefully that resonates with you. However, when I get the chance to do hypnotherapy with someone, I'm dealing with a totally unique individual. Now, for me personally, where I was actually introduced to my hypnotherapist was in my first recruitment role. I worked for an awesome company. I was number 30 in there. And the CEO was revolutionary, a real breath of fresh air, even though I didn't know anything else. And for the first, they put me on a desk, an IT architecture desk, which they had no names on the system, nothing. So I was literally like, right, just give me a desk, I'm ready to go. For the first year, I didn't bill a single penny. But they kept faith in me, and I was really, really thankful for that. And after the first year, I said, right, I'm giving myself another quarter and I'm out of here. I'm gone. In that quarter, I went to the hypnotherapist. I hadn't been to her. And I went to her. And what she did with me is she looked at my life and she saw the story that I'd been telling myself for years, subconsciously, in the quiet, in the back of my head. And what I realised in one of the sessions, she said to me, do you know what, Sammy, you're working so bloody hard. I was in 8 to 8 every single day. I was that Mr. Resilient in the company. That's why they loved me. I might not be billing all money, but they said, you're the poster boy for resilience. And I said, yeah. And she was like, you just need a pat on your head. Now, I'm 25 at the time. I'm surrounded by it. In that company, they probably had £7 or £8 million billers. These are high achieving people, and I felt blessed to be around them. But I was looking around, I was like, me? I'm in a very, very competitive environment. I don't need that. No, I don't need that. Pat on my head, who are you talking to? Get back to my desk and I started thinking about it. The next session I went in with her, she was saying to me, no, you need a pat on your head. It's okay. It's all right. Doesn't mean you're weak. Doesn't mean that you're not strong. It's okay. You just need a pat on your head. So I then went out and I was thinking about this again. And I was like, So I went to my manager and I said, look, and I said it through gritted teeth. So if you don't mind, after every one-to-one we have, this ain't going nowhere. I need to try something different. Can you just give me a pat on the head at the end of every session? She goes, what do you mean? I was like, obviously not literally.
That's what I was about to say.
No, obviously not literally.
Like, okay,
but I said, can you just give me a breakdown of what I've done well this week?
Yeah. Okay.
Particularly, 10 years ago? You know what recruitment was like. It was just in the coalface. She was like, okay, cool. And then I started to give myself the pats on the head, the way that my hypnotherapist taught me. I started to show compassion to myself. I started to show, God forbid, love. The most powerful thing that I've experienced. And through that, and through the sessions, within a quarter, I put 5 contractors in, 2 new clients. I was shocked because I felt like I hadn't done anything differently, but my attitude had changed, which meant my energy had changed, which meant people were attracted to what I was doing.
Now, look, cynics would say that, or you'd been doing it for a year, you're bound to, get your placements out at some point. All that hard work and stuff that you'd put in, that was going to pay off. You know what I mean?
It should have paid off earlier because I was so into it. I wanted it so bad that I was pushing it away.
Yeah. Look, I get it. I completely agree, right? There are people, I mean, I see it where you've got recruiters that like just stink of desperation. You know what I mean? And there was a post recently on LinkedIn. It was a recruitment trainer. A lot of people agreed with his post. A lot of people disagreed with his post, but he spent all his energy and time responding to those who disagreed with him. And like to the early hours of the morning, and then again the next day, and then again all the weekend. And then was dropping in like, oh, you should buy my book. Oh, you should buy my workbook. You should do this. You should listen to this. It's only this much. And it was kind of like, I get it now. You're struggling. This stinks of desperation. Because actually, what you wrote was good enough for, 200 odd people to like it and go, yeah, I agree with you. And 80 odd people to disagree with you. You could have left it there. But the fact that you felt compelled to answer every single person who said no to you, and the fact that you felt compelled to question everybody who questioned you, gave off the impression that this guy doesn't actually believe what he's saying here, or he's like, it comes back to that point, right? Of like you're selling to people who don't want to buy.
Absolutely,
the ones that do want to buy, you're ignoring them. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. Take the hypnotherapy thing. Perfect example. You going out and doing hypnotherapy within the recruitment industry, you are going to have people say to you, "That's bollocks. I don't believe that." Good, fine. I don't need you to believe it. And I damn sure I ain't going to waste my time trying to sell it to you because you don't get it. And because you don't get it, you can go and do something else. There are plenty of things for you to go and do. What I'm trying to do is to work with those who have already understood the benefits and understand what it is and show them that actually it can apply not just in your personal life, but in your work life as well. And I can take you from, a high performer who's struggling with these things to a high performing, like individual within the recruitment space using hypnosis.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're totally right, mate. Like in terms of taking people from here to there, that's the fun part of my job. However, with most people and kind of where I was going with what I had to learn about myself is people don't want to engage with their inner child.
No.
It's very scary. True. It's scary. Like it can be scary, especially on your own.
Yeah.
And the fact is the subconscious is your inner child. And what I'd done where I needed a pat on the head was the fact that when I was younger, things happened to me and happens with everyone where I thought that I couldn't do things correctly.
Yeah.
And so I needed to have that pat on the head, just say you're doing things all right, it's okay. Because I never had that.
Just that little bit of reinforcement along the way, yeah. This is the thing I talk to a lot of the recruitment kind of business owners that I've spoken to in the past is that you need to do a lot more learning and reading up on things like how trauma and how life events impact your team, because blanket KPIs and blanket one-to-ones and it doesn't work. Not in this day and age. It does not work. You genuinely want your people performing. Well, you need to deal with those people as individuals, and you need to give them their individual targets. Some are better on the phones. Some are better on video. Some are better on email and LinkedIn messaging. And so their KPIs need to represent that.
That's a really that's something that we just implemented at a firm I work for. That I'm wrapping up with them actually, which is really cool because you said earlier, like, look, we need to take time and you need to really take time with yourself and you need to come to a couple of sessions. What's really cool about the therapy I do is it is instant. Your subconscious feels transformed, can be transformed in a session. However, it's really, really important to understand that, like with all things, there's so many distractions in the world right now that we are easily distracted like that. And that's why I usually recommend a few sessions with people. But tailoring those KPIs to your strengths is the most important thing to get you where you're going. Of course, companies are going to have standardized wants and needs, and they want to see performance and stuff. However, we went through individually what they were good. There was one person there, you mentioned emails. I'm in awe of that because it takes me bloody ages to write an email sometimes. I was in awe of this person. They were succinct, clear in their first draft. they were able to get a hook, and they were an amazing biller, really, really cool. And that's really, really fun to meet people like that, see people within your team right now that have got a strength that you want, and play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Play to your strengths for sure, because you're in it now. How are you going to go out? Are you going to go out thinking, okay, I improved my weaknesses, but I didn't actually build the money I wanted?
And I didn't play to my strengths.
Play to your strengths.
Why spend your time, like, again, as a business owner, why spend all your energy making somebody just average, right? I've got somebody who is incredible email, good on video, and just poor on the phone. I'm going to invest all this time to make them okay or average on the phone, not embrace the video piece, not encourage and water that skill set on email. Not going to do that. No, because I want them on the phones. Because when I worked in the boiler room and when I was in the bullpen, I had to be on the phone all the time. I had to be on the phone 4 hours a day. So now you fuckers are going to be on the phone 4 hours a day. And this is real world mentality. This is what's out there. Yeah. This is what's happening, right? So I listened to all these people talking about how 2025 is going to be different. It's like, well, no, it's not, because you're doing the same old shit. I had a business partner who was exactly like this. So he looked after the accountancy and finance desk, which was our more established one. He looked after that with a couple of consultants. I set up our tech and digital desk and then our project engineering desk. I had a member of staff who started off on tech and digital. He was great at filling jobs. And he would spend most of his days finding candidates, Boolean searching, blah, 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 connecting with them on LinkedIn, sending them everything they needed, and then getting them in the process. 4 out of 5 times, he probably didn't even pick up the phone to the candidate. Right? He just had everything, and they were sticky. His interview turnout rate was good, and the acceptance rates was good, and there wasn't that much in terms of like non-starters and stuff like that. So it all no more than the other side, right? So what he was doing was good. Then when I started focusing on RecTalk and RecTools, and my business partner started looking after the team, this guy was coming up to me. He's like, he's making me go on the phones. I don't want to go on the phones. Like, I'm not good on the phones. I and I get panic attacks. I don't want to. These guys are, these guys are project engineers on nuclear projects. Quite often, they're not allowed their phone with them. More often than not, when I ring them, they're annoyed that I rang them, and they'll say, "Why haven't you emailed me?" And he's telling me not to send emails. And I'm like, that's the perfect example. Because then when I challenged him on this, him being my business partner, he was like, well, we spent 2 hours on the phone every day. Why can't they? Oh, Jesus.
That feels like a transfer of trauma, to be honest with you.
You know what I mean?
Went through it, so you got it.
Yeah, so you have to. I'm where I am today because of that, so you have to do that. And I'm just like, and this is what's happening a lot in the workplace at the minute. Oh, I can't get the best out of my teams at the moment. Or this new crop are lazy. No, they're just better at things that you were shit at. And they're not as good at things that you were good at. Absolutely. So embrace the things that they're really good at. Double down on that, rather than making a team of bang average consultants that are able to do phone, email, and video. Why don't you embrace the ones that are really good on video and get them front and center on camera all day long? The ones who are really good at outreach on email and LinkedIn, get them just doing that. Put them into those spec markets, put them into those delivery markets. And the ones that are really, really good on the phones, get them just doing that. What if they're so good on the phones, winning client business and trust and everything else? Why are they wasting time speaking to candidates when you've got people who are better at candidate stuff? Like, rework your business model.
Absolutely. And in the last client again, there was a real maverick leader there. And what's interesting about what you just said is he set up the team, and they've got a marketing aspect to their team as well. And they did exactly that, where they actually looked at the team. He looked at the team as a totality, as opposed to just, you do all of this, you do all the emails, you do all the calling, you do all the self-promotion, all that. One person, like you say, was just in front of a camera. The other person will follow up with leads. And now there could be an argument that, well, who's getting paid for what? What's the deal? He's getting paid to be in front of a camera. But this is a different skill set.
But he or she is better at that. You're welcome to step up and do it. If you think you can do that, you're welcome to do it, right? I had this, it's really interesting. I had this conversation with a business owner I'm doing some mentoring work with. And he was like, right, we've got a team of 5, right? I want them all billing at least 250 next year. And I was like, why? Why do you want them all billing 250? as a business, you want to bill 1.25, right? So why don't you use that as your target and put those people in the right places? You two are great at business development. You're going to drive the business in, and you're going to nurture those relationships and those clients. I've got these 3 people here who are very, very good at delivery. So these 3 are going to deliver. And I'll tell you what, guys, if we hit this 1.25 target over the 12 months and split into this, do you know what? On average, you all earn this much in commission. Fuck it, I'll pay you that.
That's exactly
but
what
you're
he
all
did.
going to earn it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
But then you're all going to hold each other to account as well.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm bringing on all this business and you're not filling the jobs. What's going on? The jobs you're bringing on aren't exclusive. We can't turn these around. Okay, fine. I'll take that. Let me go and focus on exclusive jobs. You know, these guys, we're losing too many to accepting counter offers and stuff. We need to work this out. The team then starts taking more responsibility for each other. But, you know, these sorts of mindsets don't work when you're running a sales business.
Yeah, and there is I mean, I thought it was bad when I was in recruitment, but the disparity between new starter and CEO is huge. Yeah. We're at a real precipice. I did a podcast with the online hypnotherapy podcast very recently, and it was my second time being on it, and I said, look, I want to get a little bit particular here and talk about Gen Z. And I also went to a future of the workplace in recruitment event recently. There was a Gen Z kind of specialist there as well. And it was so fascinating because on my first contract, I spent the first month, I didn't talk to anyone in the business. I would just do the sessions. I'd just do hypnotherapy sessions. And I came back to the business and I said, you've got 3 big problems. And they were like, what? And I said, you don't celebrate your wins enough, which for a recruitment business, I was like, whoa, this is weird.
Bizarre.
Bit weird. The journey from new starter to CEO is non-existent, or director, more to the point. How do I go from new starter to director? And the last one, there's no visible leadership. There was so much. I mean, this was a couple of years ago now, so people were a bit more kind of remote. But those three factors, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And so a lot of the work I was doing with the leadership team there was actually exactly what you were saying, looking at the individuals, because I'm obviously a hypnotherapist. I'm looking at individual subconsciouses. What are they going through? What are they going through? What's the story? You know, and I was a massive, massive help for the team or the leaders understanding their capabilities of the individuals within that team, and actually being there for a support to say, you have a little tizzy, or like your friend who feels like he needs talking off of the edge or stuff, you go to Sammy. Yeah. And we have a session and we talk it through and they come out feeling better, which is always a nice result, you know?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Well, how do people reach out to you, mate? What's the process? Is there do you have to have a consultation with you first? What's your
I like to. Yeah. So check me out on LinkedIn, Samir Ahmed. If you want to get me on Instagram, I'm Hypno by Sammy, SAMI, which is really cool. And I've got my mobile number on there as well. So
sweet.
I'm open to people giving me a shout whenever. And it's not got to be anything formal. If you want to chat about where you're at, if you want a little bit of a 30-minute MOT on where you are in your life or your career or anything like that, just give me a shout. And
I like that, mate. Appreciate you making the time this morning. Thank you. It's been really good. Thank you very much.
Mate. You too.
Guys, that's all from us today. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Look out for next week's episode. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and all the rest of the things that you guys do. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.
Peace, guys.
Mate, that was good.
Thanks, mate.
That was very good.
Yeah. Thanks, pal.
I'm just going to give him a shout to turn the cameras off.